Let's start spraying. Alright. Oh, blue shirt. We don't want that for sure. That's no bueno. Clips are live. Get it nice and tight. Now you have a nice smooth surface to work with. Do the motion of the letters or letter. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Do that motion first before you lay down any paint, and it helps in smoothing that line. I mean, after you practice a while, you won't need to, but it's always a good practice to try to get warmed up and when you're doing it, especially as a beginner, to do that motion. Here I go a little wild. I went off and made that H really big, but it's okay. And then I never knew this before, but you can always add the embellishments later. And also you can always thicken your letters. So that's what I'm doing here. The black is not working as great. I just cleaned it there. Right here I'm gonna mention again. I was getting little after dots, little sputtering afterwards. So let's see right there. I'm just thickening, and you gotta know which side to thicken. And then I added embellishments there. Just building up the letters, making them thick in certain areas. I just have it in my mind how they should look. Here I'm doing the drop shadow, staying far away from it, same distance, and almost doing like the same motions for all the letters that I just made. Oh, nice elbow. Yeah, I haven't recorded in a while, so I'm cleaning that tip because I'm not happy with it. So like that, I normally would just whip that in one time, but it was acting weird. And I'm switching to red right now. I'm just making a bubble around it. Let's see, I'm tapering. I try not to make a, when I stop, I try to make a tapered line. It comes to a point. It just looks more interesting and doesn't look so flat when you give it that variation. And here I'm showing that, you don't necessarily have to finish the line. You can add a couple dots and let the other person connected together. Let's see how it flared and I came back. I mean, I don't hit it every time, but I try to. Just because it makes it look more interesting. My red wasn't working that great, but sometimes you gotta push through it. And here I'm just fading from the bottom, but paying attention and not, I know you might get tired or something and you might start to scribble because it's getting frustrating because the paint ain't coming out. You don't want to do that. I just did the motion right there. But you don't want to do that. You want to take your time, and when you fill it in, you want to still be doing a dagger stroke from the bottom to get that fade. And then I do an overall fade from right to left. You'll see it later to get an even, just an even look and tone towards the top, so it's just not strokes. Right here is a bad habit. I'm spraying with one hand now, and it's okay. You can get used to it. There's some airbrush artists that exclusively spray just with one hand. But I notice when I've done fairs and stuff, after a while you do that and you get fatigued quicker. And you give it that illusion of that fading up, and you just take your time, just build it up. And I know sometimes it seems frustrating, but you'll eventually get there and have that nice smooth transition from dark to light. Here I'm just evening it out a little bit. I went over everything. And you got to use your eye too. Make sure it looks good to you. And here I didn't butt up right next to it. I tried not to anyway, so there's some areas I did, but I try to leave a little white gap because it just adds a little glow. And see, even when I don't hit it on the first stroke, I might come back and build it up, see, and smooth it out. I go around. I think you're more accurate with two hands too. I think I wouldn't have, you can't tell, but I kind of missed that coming around that top part. Then when you make your dots, have a variation of size. It gives it more motion. If you have the same size, it doesn't give it quite the same effect. Here I'm just doing a little scrolling. Like I said, my red airbrush is not cooperating like I usually like it, but it still works. I still make it work anyways. I'm just building it up. Because when you got your equipment working right, you shouldn't have to work that hard. And this is where tapering comes in. See, at those points, it should come to a fine point and not just the same size. And that's what I believe with the airbrush I'm using is an Iwata. And they have different ones out there. But it's the one I've been using for years. Pulling back, pulling back. And then I put a little half circle, which you can't see. It just kind of frames it. I'll do that sometimes with when I'm doing lettering, just giving it that half circles. If I didn't put those swirls on the bottom, I probably would have did it there, but I just like adding those swirls, especially for a female. Uh, it just, gives it more embellishment and looks more feminine. I mean, I could do it on a dudes too and make it look tough, but I just like adding it when I'm doing script writing. And notice, see on the bottom of that bubble, I left a little white gap, and see it adds more to it instead of filling it up. I know starting out, you just try to fill it in, fill every inch in. You don't have to do that. Even the background, I only painted half of it, and it just gives it, makes it look more interesting to me. I mean, anybody can just fill in a circle or whatever you're painting, but giving it that fade and that light and different values definitely makes it more interesting. And I'm doing the white highlights there. It's a dot, and then I'm giving it a little dagger stroke with it. And constantly cleaning that tip, especially on that white. It just builds up so bad. Can't really see it. I was trying to show you what the difference is between just having a dot and then adding with that that little tail. It just adds a little more to it. See, it looks plain. This is what I try to show you. If you just add that little bit, then I put some other dots, and I would think with your airbrush it'd be easier to achieve those little dots. But I've never used one of those before either. But I know on those different brands they don't work the same as the Iwata. There you can see the dagger strokes a little bit better in that tapering effect. The red ones have it, but that one shows it a lot more. When I'm talking about tapering, which I know like other airbrushes, they don't taper as well. And just as a beginner, you're still learning to get those fine uh, little details. I could tell you on those starburst, the trick is to cut off the paint sooner than you think. And there it is. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's all about if you can capture that feeling. And we're artists. We're not a machine. So imperfections are welcome for sure. Artistry is welcome. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.